Thank you. All right. Like they said, I'm from Thompson Valley, so this is kind of a home court advantage. You know? NBA Finals, whatever. Okay. So I'd like to start off with something my grandfather did with me. As an 8-year-old kid, I was always playing games. You know what 8-year-old doesn't play games? I was always that, Grandma, what are we playing after dinner? So my grandfather used to play this one with me. He said, now Jacob, we're going to start off using 3 cards. You know, he showed me the 3 cards, and he's like, well, let me show you what they are. And he said, the first card is a 2 of hearts. He said that the second card was also a 2 of hearts, and the third card is a 2 of diamonds. And he said, your goal is to follow where the 2 of diamonds goes. And I said, all right, that sounds pretty simple. I've never lost a game in my life. My grandma never let me win. No, never. And so he said, we're just going to start off, put it there on the bottom. And so he asked me, so where's the 2 of diamonds? And I said, it's on bottom. He's like, no, actually, there's a 2 of hearts on bottom. And I'm like, well, then it must be on top. You didn't move it at all. And he's like, no, actually, there's a 2 of hearts on top as well. And I'm like, well, then it must be in the middle. And he's like, no, actually, there is, again, a 2 of hearts. I'm like, Grandpa, you're cheating. You're using 3 2 of hearts. And he's like, no, see, the 2 of diamonds is on bottom, just like I told you. As it turns out, your second guess was correct when you said the 2 of diamonds was on top, and your 2 of diamonds is also right there in the middle. And so I'm just like, so what? You can just change cards just like that? He's like, yeah, see, I have a 2 of hearts on bottom, 2 of hearts in the middle, and a 2 of hearts on top. I'm like, I do not want to play this game anymore with you. You know, I'm not winning anything. And so he said, all right, well, let me teach you a lesson then. Sometimes in life, you get a little of this. You get a little of that, but you don't really get much of the other. Thank you. All right, I'd like to call volunteer 1 out on stage. How are we doing, Carrie?
Doing well.
Okay, good. So we talked about my grandfather, and now I'd like to do something my father did with me. My dad used to play poker with me, okay? And so he'd start off the night and just deal me 5 cards, okay? Don't look at them yet. 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And then he'd say to me, well, I'll deal myself 5 cards, but I'll do it from anywhere in the deck. And he'd just pull out 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's fair. And so he'd say, all right, well, it looks to me like I got ace, 7, 10, 3 and a 4, am I right? Okay. And so then he'd just stare at his cards for a good 30 seconds. And then he'd say, I have a feeling I know what your hand is because it's written right on the Ace of Spades. He said, you have a full house, jacks and tens, because if you look carefully, it is written right on the Ace of Spades. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but right under, you have the jacks and tens. And so then he'd say, well, that's a pretty good guess. I could just spitball that all night. Why don't you turn over your cards and see if I'm correct?
1 by 1.
1 by 1.
Or all willy-nilly.
Just turn them over.
Want to go to Vegas?
Show the camera. So then he says, I do indeed have a full house, jacks and tens. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to, so then he asked me, so how much are you going to bet? You know, I played with imaginary money, so I didn't actually lose anything. And I'm like, well, I'm betting 500 million. And he's like, all right, well, then you lose. And I'm like, I don't lose. You got trash over here. And he's like, no, see, actually, if you look carefully, I have a royal flush. Ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 of Spades. And that is how my dad beat me every single night in poker. Thank you, Carrie. For this last one, I like to call volunteer up. Volunteer 2 up. Here we go. How's it going, Gary?
Good.
Okay. So I thought about my grandfather, and I thought about my dad, and I'm like, well, 3 cards and always winning. What game is that? That's 3-card Monte. It's been the balls and the cups just moving one thing around. Where's the ball? Oh, it's not under that cup. Whatever. And so I'm like, well, what happens if I use that? Okay, so Gary will start off with a queen, a 9, and another 9. That's how it gets its name. 3-card Monte.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Good. Okay, so if we start off and put the queen on top, where's the queen at?
On top.
It's on top. Are you sure?
No. Sorry. Yes,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay. Good stuff. Okay, so the queen is actually there. Okay, so the queen's in the middle, right?
Okay.
Okay.
It's in
good.
the middle.
It's in the middle, right? So if I give you the queen, where's the queen at?
Right there.
You're sure?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're already following the wrong card because the queen's right there in my hand,
Oh,
and I gave you a 9.
I don't trust you.
You don't trust me. Okay. So if I give you a 9 this time, right? I've got the queen over here, right?
Right.
So the queen over here is actually over there.
It's supposed to be over here.
It's supposed to be over here, right?
Yes.
But I actually have
Oh, it's
2 9s, and I gave you the queen,
very good.
right? Does that make sense?
Very good.
Okay. So I'll make this easier for you. Okay. I'll get rid of the queen. Okay. So where's the queen at?
In there?
You think it's in my pocket? Well, see, the queen is actually right there, and I got rid of a 9. Okay. So if I give you the queen, where's the queen at? Keep in mind, I learned from my dad.
Yeah, I realize that now.
You think it's right there? Well, I warned you. I learned from my dad, and I used 3 9s and keep the queen back in my pocket, right? And so if I give you the queen, where's the queen at?
There.
Are you sure?
No. I think it's right there.
You think it's right there. We'll go ahead and check that one, okay? So it was right there all along, okay? So I'm not as mean as my dad. My dad would win every night. So let's say I wanted you to win, right? So what would I need to do? I would, if I give you a 9, right?
Okay.
I got the queen over here, right?
Okay.
Well, now the game is, where's the 9? Because I actually am switching the cards. And if I wanted you to win, where I have no chance of winning, right? I would need to switch all of the cards into queens and leave the 9s back in my pocket.
Remind me never to play cards with you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience.